So let's do a recap of today's performance of our Bluetti EB70S.
I am going to try to give you a real-world update on our Bluetti EB70S. Power went out last night due to thunderstorms and high winds about midnight. It's about 6:30 now, and I got up about 5:30, got some coffee made. I'll show you how I did that without power. Got the battery pack out. I've got my friends here helping me. Hey, Luca. And we can see I've got drop cords down. Our fridge is pulling about 122 pounds. I've got the second orange drop cord. It's not plugged in. I wanted to be able to run our 5 cubic foot chest freezer, but I can't get them both running at the same time. So I've been running this about 45 minutes. You can still see I've got a full battery life up here. This is the output, what's going to the fridge. I have no input right now. I'm hoping later in the day the sun will come out and I can recharge if there's still no power. My plan is to alternate running the refrigerator with the top chest freezer every hour. Just unplug the refrigerator for the chest freezer. But let me also show you how we make coffee. We've got a little 1-burner LP camp stove that we use, and I boil water just in a pan. We keep a couple gallons of water up here in our Berkey, so we've always got 2 or 3 gallons. I've got probably another 14 or 15 stored black in those blue jugs you carry when you're camping. They kind of look like gas cans actually, but blue designates it's water. Okay, after the water is boiling, we have an old-fashioned Revereware, I think from probably the 50s. So you've got a bottom coffee pot, and they make some of these camping. They're just not usually as heavy duty as the old Revereware. You put your grounds right there, no filter necessary. Put your grounds in, put this piece in, and you pour your hot water as so. Put your lid on, and you've got drip coffee in about 10 minutes. So that's how I'm having my coffee. My only difference in the morning routine, instead of reading news on the internet, I got a book out and read it. Believe it or not, I really can read. So we'll come back later in the day, depending on how long the power stays out, and let you know how the Bluetti is doing. I'm hoping I'm holding that right. Like I say, it's still not quite daylight here, but I hope this helps. I'm pretty happy to do this. This is way better than going out and starting a generator. That's one of the reasons I wanted the battery pack before I got a generator. Plus I have to have fuel for the generator, which for me I would do dual fuel, gasoline and then LP gas, because LP stores so much longer and easier than gasoline, but still you'd have a limited supply. So try to give you an update later. This is an update of hour 5 of the Bluetti running the EB70S. Our power came back on about 2 hours ago. It's 11 o'clock now. Remember, we started about 6 and the power came on at 9. So what I decided to do was I plugged the fridge back in, and let me give you some statistics. The fridge was pulling about an average of 120 watts. I think I said pounds earlier. It was early. So it was pulling about 120 watts on average, and its energy guide, the annual amount of usage, is 400 kilowatts. So it's a pretty efficient refrigerator for just buying from the big box store. The chest freezer pulls an average of about 65, so about half. And again, its annual kilowatt usage is around 200, 220. So that little 5 cubic foot chest freezer is what I've got hooked in now. Let me pull you down. There we go. So that's what's running. I do have one other item I wanted to show you. We are in when we don't have power, we don't have any outside communication. Our Wi-Fi goes down, so our cell phones don't work, and internet doesn't work, obviously. So I got out a small ham radio I bought off Amazon 10 years ago. And this is programmed with the local NOAA station. So let me let you listen.
Light winds. Wednesday night, mostly clear. Lows in the upper 50s to lower 60s. Light winds. Thursday, sunny. Highs in the lower 80s.
So it's picking up some interference from the battery pack, but you can hear I can get the weather, and that was great. It was obviously telling us we had high winds and a lot of rain. The rain in the area was 1.5 to 3 inches last night. I wanted to know what the weather was for the rest of the day, and luckily it was going to be sunny around lunchtime. Like I said, it's around 11, and the porch, this unit needs to out of the weather. This PV panel can, the connections look waterproof. It's recommended that they don't get rained on, but definitely not the power station. So I've got it inside. I've got through the window. I cracked the window and ran the cable out to the PV panel, and we can see that that output went way up. The chest freezer cycling, and when it turns on, it has a huge spike, so it's in the 650 range. Those panels are not an ideal location, and they're putting in about 100 watts of power right this minute. There we go. Looks like the chest freezer cycled off. Currently no drain, even with all the batteries fully charged now in the ham radio. And that is a 200 watt solar panel out there. I'll take you out and show you that now. So here's the panel. We're on a porch that is face southwest, and not ideal, so I'm just trying to get as much into the sun as easily as possible, and might rethink this if we had to do this long term. But for it to be sitting here and half of it's in the shade and it's putting 100 watts, I'm really happy with that. The Blue Yeti, we might be able to get through a 24-hour period keeping the refrigerator and the chest freezer cold. It's obviously great for like charging that little battery on the ham radio, your cell phones, even though that really wouldn't help us unless you wanted to play solitaire this morning. The only other communication in the ham radio, I thought about it, you could go out to your car and listen to the radio, the local stations. That'd be another way to get information. And you might ask, why didn't I recharge the Blue Yeti with the car? It's just very inefficient through the cigarette lighter. That just is not a high output, at least in our old cars. Some of the newer ones have a little better ability to charge a bigger battery bank, but it would take forever. I think on that little battery bank it was like 24 hours, so I'm not going to start the car and let it idle that long. Overall, I'm pleased with the Blue Yeti. I think it's a great addition. It's nice and quiet. It stayed quiet here this morning as we were alternating running the refrigerator, which ran for 2 hours, and chest freezer ran for 3. The battery bank was still at 40%. So given they can sit, if you don't open and close the doors, I think that, you know, a good 24 hours. And the other thing is, I'm glad, I asked my wife about how much food we had, what was it worth. She said $400 to $500 worth of food between the refrigerator and the chest freezer. So that's another thing is we bought it, is just to get by as well as we could, because we know we've always got meat and roast and other things, and the things we've got from the garden, which it's hard to put a price on, stored away. The other thing I might do is go ahead and break down and get the small generator that runs on both gasoline and LP gas. That would be an alternative when the sun's not out to get the battery bank recharged. The other thing I'm thinking about, and I have been thinking about, is water. We cannot run our well pump. So I've looked at a hand pump that looks like we could use on our wellhead and pump by hand, which I am seriously thinking getting, but again, it all comes down to dollars. And as you all know, if you're like us, there's never enough dollars, and there's a lot more projects that are going on that need money. I hope you've enjoyed this video, giving a little look at what the Blue Yeti would be in the real world. I'm going to let it, the solar panel sit out and leave the chest freezer hooked up, so I may have an update later today.
So let's do a recap of today's performance of our Bluetti EB70S model. We had really bad storms last night, and the power went out around midnight. When Bruce got up this morning, he started the Bluetti around 6 a.m. and he alternated it between our chest freezer and our refrigerator. It's really not powerful enough to run both of them at the same time. We did get our power restored around 9 a.m. Bruce ran the refrigerator for 2 hours off of the Bluetti, and the chest freezer's been going for about 8 hours. Now, he decided to make this into an experiment after the power came back on, and we're leaving the chest freezer plugged into this to see what kind of performance we're going to get out of it. It comes with solar panels for charging, and Bruce has had those outside charging since about 11 a.m. this morning. In the full sun, those panels can capture up to 160 watts, even while the chest freezer is still running and using 60 watts. About 100 watts is going towards charging the battery. And today has only been a partly sunny day. We've been waiting for all of the storm clouds to completely get out. But the battery has raised about 40% to 60% with the solar panel. But we're really still very happy with it. We have refrigeration and lighting.
So you unplug, sorry folks.
Yeah, if I unplug
I'm the kind of the tech
He's
nerd.
the tech guy.
So that battery bank now shows it was 40% when I put the PV panel in. So it has been able to raise 20% on that grid bar today, which you'd love to see 100, but it gives us an idea of how it's performing in a partly cloudy day. It does help quite a bit, because we bought the bigger
panels
based on your suggestion, which is really good.
I'm glad we did it too, because we do have access to sunny days around here, but we do still have a lot of trees and shade, and as the sun moves throughout the day and that kind of thing. We are discussing about just long term, when we have these issues, of just using this to run the chest freezer, because I have a lot of valuable money invested in time and energy in the food in the chest freezer. And so this will be directly for the chest freezer and possibly lights. And what we plan to do going forward right now is we have a super insulated cooler that we're just going to try to remember to keep ice packed in bottles, and we will use that for our refrigeration in the event that we lose power for longer than we can actually use this, or get it charged again or whatever. It's been an interesting experiment, and I'm really glad Bruce had the time and the forethought today to do that. I want to show you the freezer. So if you'll follow me, I'm going to take you back and show you that it's still frozen. So this is our chest freezer, and it needs a little defrosting, but that's not going to happen right now.
There's the ice buildup. So yeah, we didn't
lose anything.
It's all nice and hard. So
yes. So thank you guys so much for stopping by and seeing us here at Life in Every Season. If you can, and if you found the information helpful, please like and subscribe to our channel. It helps us to be able to just keep putting more information out there. And part of that is to put the information out there to also get comments and get even more knowledge from people who know more than we do. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you later, and we'll catch you on the next one.